Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing another slime dares video. I was challenged to make an activator in different liquids. I thought this was really interesting, so I wanted to try it out. I started off with adding a cup of Sprite into my beaker. Sticking with a regular basic ratio, I added a teaspoon of borax into that.
Oh, thank goodness.
I was stirring this for quite a long time, and no matter how long I was stirring, unfortunately the borax would not dissolve. I'm not gonna lie, I was worried that this might not work, but I still wanted to try it. So I proceeded with the usual steps of making slime, adding glue, and then I added some optional coloring. For the first drop, it really looked like it had potential to become slime because it looked like it was going to clump up, and I was adding the Sprite activator a couple of times, but it was still liquidy, so what I decided to do was try to manually melt the undissolved borax for a couple of minutes on the stove. After trying to dissolve some of the borax of the Sprite activator, I added that into my glue and then I repeated that a few times. I would say that it turned into something weird but so cool at the same time. At first glance, it looks watery and super jiggly, and you can kind of stretch it and pull it like a normal slime, but then it would fall apart immediately on your hands. It really reminds me of oobleck or some kind of Newtonian fluid. At this point, I already finished the entire cup of the Sprite activator, but I want to see if I added more of that, what would happen, if would it become more like the slime that you can poke and hold. So I just went with the whole thing I did in the beginning and repeated that. And I actually think this made it worse, so I tried microwaving it to really dissolve the borax. After about 25 seconds in the microwave, I added that into my mixture and repeated that a few times. It still stayed liquidy. Unfortunately, it got even worse. I even tried adding regular borax to it to try to save it, but no matter how much I added, it still stayed liquidy. I think what happened was it was heated for too long, and especially in strong heat as opposed to steaming it on the stove. So I had to add extra glue and then add regular borax for it to turn back into that oobleck form that I got earlier. For the next liquid, I'm trying out tea, so I'm just making regular tea by adding hot water to the baggie. And then I added a teaspoon of borax into that. I let it sit for about 5 minutes. I kinda did add a little too much of the tea activator into my glue, so it's totally my fault, but you can clearly tell that it made slime immediately. I figured it would because it was just hot water infused with tea, and you usually use hot water or warm water to make a regular borax solution. There wasn't a huge difference in the liquid properties. I definitely do want to try out other liquids and experiment with them, so if you guys have any other liquid suggestions, let me know in the comments down below and I would love to do more. I just narrowed it down to 2 liquids because of the length of the video. I didn't want to drag it out. For the next dare, this person wanted me to add icebreaker mints into a slime, so I make sure that I got the sugar-free ones because I know that anything with sugar is going to definitely melt the slime. So even though they were sugar free, it still completely melted my slime. The only good thing I would say is it smelled good. It smelled like mint and I love the smell of mint. So the next dare is someone wanted me to leave my favorite slime outside for a week. I have a lot of favorite slimes, but I'm gonna go with this one because I've been playing with it a lot, almost every day, so I really like this one. I'm actually curious to see what will happen. So let's go. I'll see you in a week. After a week of being outside, this poor slime has been through rain, through wind, and direct sunlight. It formed a super dry layer on top, and the color is super dark, which really caught my eye. The surface reminds me of a geode. If I were to leave a slime dry out indoors, I don't think the color would turn this dark at all, so that was really interesting to me. Below the dry layer, the slime was still intact, so that was good. For my last and final dare, this person wanted me to make slime with just the borax powder without dissolving it in water. So I added my glue, I added my coloring, yada yada yada. I started off with adding about a 1/4 teaspoon of the borax and added that in. I saw no results at all. It was just glue, nothing really happened. So I continued to add more borax powder and again nothing really happened. I would say what I felt was a little bit chunks of the borax kind of like mushing together into like what felt like rocks in the glue. So I just went ahead and activated it with a diluted borax because it just was not turning into slime. It wasn't even clumping up at all. I definitely do not recommend you guys to try this out because not only does it not work, but you should always dissolve your borax powder in hot or warm water before you add it into your glue, and you want to avoid touching the powder itself as much as possible. I was of course curious, so this was an intriguing experiment. And that is it to this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any more dares for me to do, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!